Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, Heal Lift Rise. My name is Carla. Thank you all so very much for joining me here. Just so you know, you might have to turn up the volume on your device because I talk like this at this level, this tone when my daughter is sleeping, my youngest one. So just be mindful of that. That is why I talk like this, and why my voice is very soft and I'm not super loud. I wanted to share a message today about softening our hearts. I feel like the world at large right now, on a collective scale, is showing us where we need to soften our hearts. And I had this message come through earlier today. I had like a lot of stuff come through. It was while I was working out, and of course I had to like get it down because that's usually when stuff is like, I never have a notebook and pen with me when I'm really needing it, so I put it in my phone. But there was this message of softening our hearts, of allowing ourselves to feel the uncomfortable feelings that arise, that are coming to the surface. And when it comes to the surface, it is just wanting to be felt, to be acknowledged, and to be released out of your experience. Research has shown that it takes about 90 seconds for an emotion to run through your field, your body. Once you allow it to open yourself into that experience, into that energy, once you actually open yourself to that and allow yourself to feel it fully in its entirety, it just takes about 90 seconds to run through and to clear, to exit out. And the funny part of this message was, as I was writing this down, this was coming through, there was this message of, hardened are the walls of a heart who thought it was better to build borders than building bridges. It was so weird and random that came through, but of course I'm not discarding anything. You know, when I do like channeling, automatic writing, when stuff comes through, like I'm writing it down and I'm like, everything, I'm not gonna like judge it. But I thought that was really interesting that came through. And so it also brought about this message of sharing that when we don't feel what needs to be felt, okay, these uncomfortable, heavy emotions, we end up stuffing it away, suppressing it, pushing it away, and we end up building walls around our hearts, unknowingly, unconsciously, building walls around our hearts because we are deciding that certain emotions are not to be felt. And so we kind of push those emotions away. And what ends up happening, and this is really interesting, this message that came through, is that we end up pushing away people. We do that to people. We push away people that kind of run along those same emotions we're pressing away, the same energy that we don't want to experience. We end up pushing away similar people with that energy, with that same energy and emotions. So the message here in all of that was to really be open to allowing yourself to feel the uncomfortable, to experience and feel the oftentimes painful and uncomfortable feelings and emotions. Allow yourself to open up to feeling, because feeling is healing, my friends. So I thought that was really interesting that came through. And of course, I think one of the biggest things right now, like one of our biggest tests, is to learn to navigate life through feeling, because that is the frequency of Mother Earth changing into feeling. Like, it's all energy. So it's about being able to feel more. And we have to work with that energy. We have to work with it and learn to feel and connect deeper to our feelings. Definitely feel like that's the way that things are shifting and changing for us. And that's going to be a big part of our future experience as the new human. It's really going to be about energy and what are we feeling, our intuition. What is our intuition saying, right? So I wanted to share that with you. I felt that that was really, really, really interesting, that message that came through. I believe that there's a great softening of our hearts that is occurring and wanting to occur for so many of us, to, drop the walls around our hearts, to allow ourselves to be vulnerable, to open up and to express ourselves authentically and, freely, fully. I feel like I needed to hear the message too. It made me become aware of things from the past that I felt like were brought up, like how I operated for so long. And, I could see the patterns of how I was operating and how I would choose to handle things. And I feel like this message is like showing me, it really is about being open, like opening our hearts, being open. And the more that we can make space for these uncomfortable emotions, these uncomfortable feelings, painful feelings that sometimes we don't want to feel, we allow ourselves to hold more space, to hold more light within us. Not only does our heart expand, our light body expands. We naturally expand our light, our energy, our aura expands the more that we can hold space for the uncomfortable. Because remember, you can only hold more light within you the more you can hold space for the uncomfortable, because it's all encompassing, right? So you being able to hold that space for yourself, honoring uncomfortable feelings, allowing yourself to feel it, right? That means you're integrating that energy within you. So your capacity to hold more light, more energy, expands your field, you can't see my arms, but expands your field in a huge, huge way. So understand that that is the only way for us to hold more light within us, is to be able to make space for all the emotions, even the things we don't want to experience. So it starts from within us. It starts within how we can hold space for ourselves. And when times get tough, things become uncomfortable, how are we honoring ourselves, and how are we allowing ourselves to open up and experience the fullness of what is wanting to just be acknowledged, felt, and released. I feel like that's very, very important, very important. And I want you to remember to be compassionate with yourself. Be very compassionate. We are running off programs of fear because we have been conditioned to believe that that is the way, to live our lives, is running off this fear programming. But the fear programming is dismantling. Like, we are dismantling that outdated programming. We don't need to run off fear anymore. We need to run off faith. We need to run off love. The highest truth, which is love. And I know it can be sometimes difficult to have that compassion for yourself, but if you do not try to be compassionate and, step into that energy of compassion for yourself, you won't be able to extend that to other people, especially those who are, at the opposing different end of your view. And the whole goal is to be able to be compassionate for everybody, to hold that energy of compassion for everyone, even the people you disagree with, even the people that you don't see eye to eye with, being able to hold a space of love and compassion for everybody, regardless of their views and what they believe. I think that's very, very important and very much the key here. So be compassionate with yourself, and be very graceful and understanding, patient, because when you start taking on this process of giving yourself space, honoring your feelings and what's coming up, and being gentle with yourself, you will learn that this too is necessary for all of your loved ones and friends and everybody else in this world, that, we got to create this, and you can then extend it to others. You can extend this same level of compassion and love for other people. So this is something have been becoming aware of in my own reality. I feel that I tend to sometimes be a little hard on my child, my oldest, my 10-year-old. And I've become aware that I've been running off an old program, that how I was raised and how I did things, because that was how I was conditioned to believe that I needed to operate. And that is something that I'm in the process of breaking free from, because I want to be able to be more gentle, be more compassionate when my child makes a mistake, and not be so quick to, react, or, come from a place of reaction or just correction, but come from a place of compassion and understanding, and maybe asking questions as to why, why they made that mistake, why they chose to do that, and how we can do things different the next time, how we can make better decisions going forward, how can we do something different so then that doesn't happen, so we don't choose that. So these are things that have popped into my awareness lately, and I know that for some of you, you might be experiencing something similar, where there are certain things that have been coming into your awareness, and that is really good. That is good. That is great. The more awareness you have of your stuff, of stuff that you will end up being able to make changes, because awareness is what brings about change. And people can only change with awareness. Nobody can change if there's no awareness. My right ear just started going out. It was beeping, 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 and then it went out. It was interesting. So having awareness is key, and that's to definitely be celebrated, because when you're having awareness, you're able to make changes and do something different. So be gentle and be compassionate with yourself through this process of change that we're all going through, individually, collectively. Be compassionate with yourself, with others. Hold a space of love, people that are in really hardened heart energy is what I want to call it. It's because they were never given that compassion. They were never given that space for compassion. They were never given the space to learn how to feel their feelings. They never learned how to process and feel their feelings. They were never validated or encouraged. So have space. Have space, have love, have compassion for others, and especially the ones that need it the most. Because I feel like when people close off their hearts and they build walls around their hearts, those are the ones that really need the love the most. And I feel like the world is showing us that. Like, we're constantly seeing where the love needs to be held and extended, where we need to hold that space of love. And I know it can be difficult. It can be difficult when we are seeing so many injustice, you know, situations. But I believe that that's where the true test comes in of, you know, holding that space, holding the light, and choosing light, and choosing to be compassionate and caring, most definitely the most. So I wanted to share this message with you. I hope in some way it helped you, uplifted you. Until next time, my friends, take very, very good care. I love you all so very much. Bye.